Here I am, in the place to be. Mr. K and B, you can't fuck with me. Extra sexy, extraordinary. Palms are hairy, your mama pop.
What up, y'all? K&B, the Sexy Ninja, in the place to be for C Plus Studios, and this is the Sexy Ninjacast. And if you did listen on January 1st, January, I dropped an episode about Star Trek, 2009 Star Trek, the Kelvin timeline, with Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto, and such an amazing cast, directed by J.J. Abrams. Now we're going into the sequel to that movie. The possibilities of trying something different, right? No. I'm talking about Star Trek Into Darkness. Pretty much, I feel like introducing Benedict Cumberbatch to the world. You know, I feel like that's because that's when Benedict Cumberbatch in this movie, like, I love him in this movie. I think he's such a great presence and a threat to the Enterprise crew and to Starfleet in general. And obviously, he's Khan. And that was the thing. I remember the build-up to this movie was J.J. Abrams. J.J. likes sworn to secrecy type things. You know, it's like there's always a mystery in the box. You can't unload the mystery. And I feel like with Star Trek 2009, the mystery there wasn't really that mystery aspect, but it was like, what's going on? Like, I feel like 2009 was like J.J. Abrams kind of held back, not like he did with Star Wars The Force Awakens, where there was the foreshadowing of Rey and everything like that, and like who's her parents and this and that, and who are they, and never really, just all these little boxes, the mystery box of J.J. Abrams, That wasn't in 2009 Star Trek at all. That movie, I still say, is perfection. I remember talking to Doug about this, and he's like, I don't know about that. Then I watched Into Darkness. And I got to say, I enjoyed this movie much more. 2013, man, I'm getting old. These movies are going to be 10 years old. No, it is going to be 10 years old this year. Wow, holy crap. The 10-year anniversary for Star Trek Into Darkness this year. Holy crap. I didn't really put that two and two together. But I remember when this movie came out, man, the trailer was like, holy crap, the Enterprise is going down. And it was just like, oh, man, what's going to happen? This ship has been through a lot, especially in the first one. Then it goes through much more in the second one. And we're meeting up with the crew in the starting. They're on this civilization where the planet's about to erupt. The volcano's about to erupt, and their mission is to stop it. The mission is to make sure that they stop it. And this planet has not seen life outside of anything else. They really haven't invented the wheel yet. There's this tribe there. And we're introduced in a big way to Kirk and Bones and stuff like that. They're running, and Bones is like, why are we running? He goes, I stole this, and this is really important to them or whatever. But we wanted to lure the tribe away from the volcano, the active volcano. The thing's going off and stuff like that. And Spock, Sulu, and Uhura, they're in this volcano, and it's too hot in there for them. And Spock is trying to get this thing down. He's like, hey guys, if you have to leave, you have to leave me. I'm gonna save this planet and whatnot. I'm prepared for death. Vulcan style, baby. Like I'm ready for death if death needs to come get me. Uhura really doesn't like that because they're a thing, and that's the kind of message going on throughout the movie. Is she gets mad at him, because she feels like he's being selfish in a way because he was willing to die. Like, he was ready. He closed his eyes and said, "All right, Vulcan gods, take me now, Lord." And they're all bantering back and forth. Of course, Spock survives. He lives, But the big takeaway was after they stopped the volcano and they saved everything, the Enterprise comes up out of the water because that's where they're hiding because they're not supposed to be seen. This is a planet that, like I said, hasn't invented the wheel yet, so they weren't supposed to be seen on this mission, but they were. And the best part about it is when the water comes up and you got that great, amazing score. No, 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 no. It's just like, fuck yeah, the Enterprise, baby. Woo! And they save Spock and everything like that, and the tribe, they see the Enterprise fly off, and they consider that their new god because they start drawing it in the dirt, and they're like, oh, shit, and, of course, Kirk, as captain of the USS Enterprise, gets in trouble with Starfleet because they weren't supposed to be seen, which they were, and they stopped the volcano, and Kirk says, I don't believe in a no-win situation. I will do what I need to do. I will break the rules if I have to. Kirk is a rebel in his own sense in this universe. But Spock sold him out because they're in Pike's office, and Pike is like, what you did was fucking stupid about talking to Kirk and stuff like that. And he goes, in your report, you're false. Basically, he falsified a report to be like, yeah, this happened, but nothing really else. He kind of skimmed over. He did the yada 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 in his report for Starfleet. He was like, okay, well, with this happened, and yada, 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 and then this happened, yada, yada. No, Spock, and then he goes, Spock's report was like, what happened? Everything. And he's like, wait, what? Spock, yo, my dog, like, we're supposed to be homies, So they take the Enterprise away from Kirk, and Kirk is demoted. He's no longer captain of the Enterprise. Pike is... the ship's back to him. He makes Kirk his first officer, and Spock is shipped off to somewhere else. So, right then and there, the tension is happening. And while all this is happening and unfolding, you get this scene where, I believe it was in the UK, in London. Father and mother is looking at their child that's dying, and Khan sets up this plan to be like, okay, well, I want to start setting an attack on Starfleet. So he gives a cure to this family, to this dad, and says, here, you work at Starfleet. I give you this cure. She'll be fine, but you need to make a sacrifice, because if I give you this, I ain't giving you this for free, because he works at Starfleet in the UK division. He goes there, place blows up in a really cool way too. It was in this ring he puts in the water, and it's like, boom. So Khan has made his attack on Starfleet. I'm just going to say Khan because when the reveal comes, it's kind of like, oh, okay. We all knew he was Khan. Even I remember in interviews with J.J. Abrams, like, no, that ain't Khan. No, shit, we're talking about it ain't Khan. How do they know? But this movie is trying to recreate the magic of the Wrath of Khan. One of the best Star Trek movies ever, Star Trek 2. But I would say it's not neck and neck, but it's almost there, especially with this retelling of the story. And Khan just wants his crew back, and that's where the other twist comes in, that kind of like, oh, okay, sure, I guess. But Starfleet's being attacked, and they go into this meeting room, and RoboCop comes in, and he's the head of Starfleet, and he's like, hey, we got to figure out what the fuck's going on with this guy. He's in deep space right now. He's in an area that we can't access because we're going to go to war. We can't do this. But RoboCop is like, yo, we got to set a mission to go out there and go find Khan, because that's what Kirk says. And then Kirk's sitting there and he's trying to put all the pieces together, and he's like, yo, and then he's like, yo, speak. And he's like, hey, that place that was attacked, that was a public record place. Why would Khan attack that? And he's all putting all the pieces together, and he's like, oh shit, Khan attacks this room with all these Starfleet captains and everything, first officers, bam, 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 shoots it up. This is where Pike dies, and it's really sad, really, really sad, because Pike was like a father to Kirk, and Kirk, there's this great scene where Spock puts his hand on Pike's face, and he's feeling the fear and everything that's going through this man's mind about him dying. And then Kirk comes over, and it's just this great, you pull away the sound and you let Kirk cry, and that's his motivation to get Khan, So he goes after him. But they're on a top secret mission. So what's crazy though is and all this that happens, it all happens in the span of this 30 minutes where Kirk loses the Enterprise and he's shipped down to a first officer. And then when Pike dies, he's the first officer. So once again, he's the captain of the USS Enterprise. It just seemed like a lot of jumping through hoops that didn't really necessarily need to do that to the story. Should have got a slap on the wrist, in my opinion. and was still the captain of the USS Enterprise because this was like, okay, no, we're going to take away, like this is the point. We take away Kirk's ship. Yeah, USS Enterprise, he's no longer captain. Boom, Pike's captain. Boom, Pike dies. Boom, Kirk's captain again. I'm like, I feel like writing-wise, that was very unnecessary, but it was, the driving force of that was Kirk and Spock's relationship. They're supposed to be brothers, and Kirk is upset at Spock because, like, we're supposed to have each other's back. But Spock is dealing with the Vulcan side of himself. He's like, that's not logical. There's this tension, but there's a brotherhood still, and they do care for each other. So, bam, the crew's on the Enterprise. They go after Khan, and, one of the best parts is when, like, Uhura's like, we're fighting, and Kirk's like, wait, what? So then Spock's back. He's like, I'd like to be your first officer. You're my first officer again. Let's go get this son of a bitch. So they try to get Khan in the space where war could happen and war could break out. But you find out that these missiles that they're holding there, they tell Khan, like, yo, if you do not surrender, we will shoot you and blah, blah, with these missiles and stuff like that. And while they're doing that, Kirk and Spock and Uhura, they go down to the planet. They go down there to try to get him and everything like that. And Khan gives himself up after a big fight and everything like that. After Khan basically saves them. And there's this great, like, Kirk is mad. And he starts beating the shit out of him is a little too much. He was punching him, and Khan just was like, all right. It was like that episode of SpongeBob. Remember when the bully was like, I'm gonna kick your butt. and like SpongeBob's scared throughout the entire episode, and then he finally goes, okay, fine, do it. And he goes, okay. And he just starts punching SpongeBob, and SpongeBob's like, okay, you can do it now. Okay, you can keep hitting me now. And he's like, I am. And the bully's trying to beat him. That's what that scene felt like when Kirk started hitting him, getting tired and smacking. Like nothing was happening, and Khan just had no reaction to it. So, bada bing, bada boom, Khan surrenders because he tells him, like, yo, my crew, we're I think they're like over 200 years old or whatever, but they were far advanced and built by, there was something that Starfleet was trying to keep hush, so They go up to the Enterprise, and lo and behold, guess who's the real... Like, Khan's still the bad guy, just because he wants his crew. And this is where kind of like the reveal of RoboCop. I just call him RoboCop because that's the actor. That's all I associate him with. He's in charge of Starfleet. He's the head top honcho, but he shows up in this massive, like, super steroid version of the Enterprise that's like bulky and has like really no crew on it, but that's what the ship was intended for because they were building it, and he was building it secretly and stuff like that. Like, this thing could take out the Enterprise like that in a snap. Shows up and tells them, like, hey, because he released Khan. RoboCop released Khan. He's like, hey, you try to get him, but Khan didn't want to because he wanted his crew. And so this is basically somebody doing something wrong at the top and trying to cover himself up. He's willing to blow up the Enterprise. He's willing to kill the crew. And Kirk tells him, like, no, dude, like, hey, this is my fault. I went after him, breaking rank. Because they try to get away. They try to get away and go through warp. And then that ship follows up and boots him out of space. And they're getting shot at. And he's like, hey. So then Kirk devises a plan to keep RoboCop at bay because during all of this, before they even go on their trip, we have good old Scotty who resigns because he doesn't want these warheads, that's filled with Khan's crew. But they don't know that yet. He doesn't want these warheads on the ship just because of the nuclear reaction. He feels like it's wrong. He feels like it doesn't. These should not be here, so he resigns. Lo and behold, during all this, Kirk calls him. He's like, hey, can you do something for me? These coordinates that Khan gave me. He goes there, he finds the ship, and then he's inside of this big ship. So a lot of things are happening in this story. Scotty shuts down their weapons. Boom. RoboCop's on his big steroid Enterprise ship, and they shut it down. And Scotty's like, hey, so Khan and Kirk, they kind of like put things aside because they need to stop that ship. So they go, and they're going through space, and there's debris, and they get there, they make it, and there was Scotty, and lo and behold, like, Khan, I almost forgot about RoboCop's daughter. She really had no thing in the story. She knew about the people inside the missiles, but she also like her story was the reveal of that's dad, don't do this, no dad, and she's there. She got aboard. She got onboarded onto a RoboCop ship just because she was like, Dad, don't do this. And then he picked her up, like, hey, get your ass over here, okay? But in the process, they get RoboCop, and Khan kills him. Well, no, when they get into Kirk is like, hey, tell Scotty, like, hey, man, like, you stun him once we get to the bridge, like, once we get up there, pop, I don't trust him. So they get up there. As soon as they get to the bridge, bam, he shoots Khan. Khan goes down, and they're telling RoboCop, like, hey, man, we're taking you in, Khan, once again, really not affected by these things because he's super, like, and he goes and he kills RoboCop, pops his eyes or whatever, smushes his head like a tin can. Kirk's like, oh, shit, So they get sent back to the Enterprise, and Khan takes the new steroid ship, then tells them, like, hey, I want my fucking crew, and I'm going to kill you. So, well, and he's like, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to kill you. And during this time, the warp core is damaged. So Kirk, like, he's, during this time, because the ship took a lot of damage, the Enterprise, and Khan now is in charge of this steroid Enterprise ship. So Spock is like, yo, no, this ain't going to happen. Kirk goes down with Scotty to the warp core, and he's like, hey, how can we get this thing started? And he's like, what's going there? And Scotty's like, yo, that's so much radiation. That's going to kill you, man. And Kirk's like, yeah. He punches Scotty, ties him up, and says, sorry, dude. He goes in, and he gets the warp core restarted, and and of course the radiation. And Spock devised the plan, and he sent those missiles over, but not with Khan's crew. And he sends them over, and Khan's like, all right, now I'm gonna still kill your asses. And then Spock is like, yeah, about that. Boom, blows up those pods, and then Khan's like, oh shit, So, but they're hovering above Earth right now. That's where they're at. So, after Spock devises his plan, and after they got saved, and they're in the atmosphere, everything like that, and the ship's going down, the Khan ship's going down, and lo and behold, Kirk is dying. They're trying to recreate that moment in the Wrath of Khan when Spock's dying, and then you have that monumental moment of Shatner being like, Khan! But this was the roles were reversed in this time around, and it was emotional. I give it up to them. And then, like, just right when Spock, Zachary Quinto goes, Khan, it's not as epic as Shatner's in any way. It's emotional. I feel the pain for him because he just lost his friend, but it's not as emotional as it's meant to be, And I'm not saying Shatner's was emotional by any means. It was epic. Epically, like, Khan, that pull away on the camera and whatnot. This one was more, it was on Spock, and he's like, Khan, son of a bitch, my homie. So all this is going down, and Kirk is, quote unquote, dead. So Spock goes after Khan. He's pissed. He's angry. They go after him. They're running through the city of San Francisco, and and they're beating the shit out of each other. And Uhura comes down to try to help because Khan is a lot, man. Like I said, Khan's not. He's a superhuman machine, But Spock gets him, and they find out that, and during this time, Bones, there's a treble that he was working on. Earlier in the story, that kind of hints like he put Khan's blood inside it, and just to see what Khan's blood was really made of, because he took a blood sample, And during this time, when they see Kirk's body and everything like that, Bones is like, damn. And then he looks over, and the treble starts, like, doot, doot, and he's like, oh, shit, put him in a cryo stabilizer. We need to get him, blah, blah, blah. And say, do we have any more blood? Nope. All right, Spock, you can't kill him. You can't kill Khan. We need his blood. He will bring back the captain. Of course, gets Khan. Go. Kirk is alive again because of that super blood. And lo and behold, Khan is sent back into the freezer. So, there's a possibility Khan could come back. He's with his crew now, asleep. But there's a lot in this movie. And there's a really great scene with Zachary Quinto, and he calls his older self. He's like, hey, man, you ever heard of a dude named Khan? And then Spock is like, oh, shit. Dude, that dude's no good. No. Yeah. So, and this is the start of their 5-year mission. So this is like let's say it's like a prequel to the actual original series. This is where they're going to go off into deep space and everything like that, and go explore and find new worlds and everything, So so this movie was, like I said, Star Trek 2009, Star Trek 2013. I'm definitely going to watch Star Trek Beyond again. I've seen that movie a few more times than actual Into Darkness. But this movie's fun, but there's a lot of congestion with the story. Like a lot of unnecessary takes and twists to the story. So I still love the movie beforehand. This movie, I remember seeing it and being like, oh shit, that was awesome. Give me some more Enterprise, baby. And give me some more Starfleet. Give me some more Star Trek, babe. But I still enjoy this movie. It's a good introduction to Benedict Cumberbatch being Khan and everything, and the crew going off on their 5-year mission. And this was the last movie by J.J. Abrams, and the next movie, I believe, is Justin Lin, who's also a big-time director for the Fast and Furious movies and stuff like that, and I believe the Conjuring universe, if I'm correct in my brain. But he takes over with the third movie, Star Trek Beyond, and that movie's much different than these two previous movies by J.J. Abrams. Different tone, more action, more balls to the wall, ridiculousness, and the next movie does feel like an original series, like episode, So, the crew, they're back. Star Trek Into Darkness, I would give this movie, at a scale of 10, I would give this movie a 7. A 7 out of 10. That's our movie scale. Wrestling scale is different. Movie scale's out of 10. For me, personally, and Doug, I give it a 7 just because the story is just a little congested with a few things here and there that I'm just like, we could have not done that. We could have taken that out. But Star Trek Into Darkness, man, it's still a fun movie. I still enjoyed it. I really do love this whole take on this universe. And there was rumor that the 4th film is on the horizon. And once that announcement came out, they were like, the actual cast was like, what? We didn't know. Hey, let's talk negotiations. Chris Pine's like, I'll come back as Captain Kirk for a little bit of cheddar. So we shall see if there's a 4th film. I hope there is. I hope it is with this crew, with these actors. Let's continue this story, even in a show or series on Paramount Plus. They got all these crazy Star Trek shows now: Star Trek Prodigy, Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Star Trek Picard, season 3, baby's coming up, and I think that's why my love of Star Trek was like rebuilt, because season 3's on the horizon, and I finally got back my awesome Starfleet sweatshirt and everything like that. So I'm all Trekkie all the way right now, just because Picard's on the horizon. Just finished Tulsa King. If you haven't finished, listen to that, my series of reviews for that show. So I mean, plus too, I think at the end of the day, I'm just somebody just loves watching things and enjoying these worlds and jumping back on in and things, especially with a movie like Star Trek Into Darkness in 2013. Like, I think of how far, 10 years ago, where I was in my life at that point, when me and my girlfriend, now wife, this is when we first got together and stuff like that. I was really into movies, and I remember me and her became big movie buddies. And just because, it's funny too, it's like I used to go to the movies by myself. Like I didn't give a fuck. Like on my days off, I'll be walking. She's like, where are you going? Because we both worked at the same place. And I'll be like, I'm going to the movies, And I was like, you want to come with? Yeah, let's go, And that's how it all began in that sort of relationship, because we do love movies, and I do love going to the movies. And I'm just thinking about it back that era. And I remember when Into Darkness came out, I was like, fuck yeah, man. I was so hyped. I was so ready. I was like, just bring it on. And looking at the relationship with Spock and Kirk and how important that relationship is, how important they are to each other, and how I said in the last podcast with the first movie, that's what it was. It was like you have to have this is the battery of this franchise, is these two, their relationship, their brotherhood, and what it means in the long run, and where, you know, they need each other. You know, that friendship is forever. And it's beautiful, in my opinion. So, 7 out of 10. Tell me what you think. If you, what was your thoughts when you first saw Into Darkness? Or if you haven't seen Into Darkness, you should go watch Into Darkness, you know. So, next up, Star Trek Beyond. And that's it. That's all. Like and subscribe. Share with your grandma. Share with your grandpa. Share with the bum down at Walmart. I am KMB the Sexy Ninja. And remember, live long and prosper. Whoop, whoop!
Welcome to the wicked shit.